Hi everyone, it's Riya and welcome back to my channel. So this video is a bit unexpected because I usually post on Saturdays, but I just got the Tombow dual brush pen and I'm so excited to test it out because I've been wanting this brush pen for ages. So let's get straight into this video. So here is the black Tombow dual brush pen. I got it in black and the main reason for that was because my black super tip is running out, as you can see. So yeah, I was really in need of a new black brush pen. So I got this on Amazon and I'll leave the link in the description below. I think it was around £2.50 and the Tombow range in my opinion is quite expensive. I think it's approximately £13 or £14 for 6 pens. But besides that, they do come very well recommended. So yeah, I'm going to be judging this pen on my experience of brush pens, as little amount of knowledge as that is. But I'm mainly going to be comparing it to the Crayola Super Tips. I'm so excited to finally be having one of these pens. Yeah, let's go ahead and try it out. So here is the Tombow dual brush pen. So I'm going to go ahead and first test out the brush tip side. So the pen has a brush tip and sort of like a fine liner marker tip. So yeah, let's go ahead and try this out. On first impressions, the nib is really big, so I think this will be like really good if you're trying to make thick letters when you're lettering. Yeah, so the downstrokes on this letter are really thick. I think that's because of the size of the nib. I personally really like it like this. I think it looks really cool. But what I noticed was that when I'm using it, you need to have a lot of control over the pen because the nib is so big. But you can totally see the difference between my super tip and the Tombow. You can tell this is like a much brighter, darker colour. I'm just going to practice writing some words with the pen just to see how it looks when you write a full word. I don't know if you can hear this, but it does make quite a loud noise whenever you use it. I think that's probably just because it's new. I'll probably get used to it, but this might bug you if you hate the sound of like the pen scratching against the paper. I'm really liking the brush side of the pen. I know I haven't tried the other side yet, but the brush side, it's got a really nice thick nib which creates the really thick look for the downstroke, which I really like. The brush side of the pen is really nice, although again I am noticing that you have to have a lot of control when you're making really thin lines or really thick lines. Actually, it's more on the thin lines, like your hand keeps wobbling if you're making a really thin line. So I think this may take some practice and some getting used to. And like me, if you haven't used a brush pen before, you may not be very used to it. But yeah, I think this is just going to take a lot of practice. In terms of the ink, I really like it. It gives a really bold, vibrant colour, but I've noticed that it gives a sort of gradient effect when you're using it, so it goes sort of darker at the top and lighter as you come down. Obviously, because this is black, I can't judge it very well, but if you have a coloured Tombow pen, you may notice the difference a lot more. If, like me, you're mainly going to be using the Tombow dual brush pen in a bullet journal, I do need to consider if it bleeds through the paper, so that's like if you can see the ink on the other side. I can't see it, and that's a really good sign because my bullet journaling paper is quite thin, so it's nice to know that this won't bleed through and goes to the other sides of the pages. Next, I'm going to try the finer tip side of the pen. It's like a standard marker. I'm actually quite surprised because the nib looks quite big when you first look at it, but I've noticed that it creates really thin lines. This would be really good if you're using it for faux calligraphy, where you're just like outlining where the downstrokes would be and filling those in. But yeah, I think it's really nice to have two different size nibs on one pen. I'm really happy with the pen, like on the brush nib side compared to my Crayola Super Tip. As you can see here, the lines for the downstrokes, they're certainly thick, but they're not as thick as here. So if you do want thick downstrokes, compared to the Crayola Super Tip, if you want thick downstrokes, I'd go for the Tombow. And now I'm just going to show you some examples of using the two different pens so you can see a comparison. Obviously you can't really tell very well on the Super Tip because this pen is running out. So as an overall review of the pen, I've just written out some qualities that I can mark the pen on. So for example, the nib size on the brush side is large, and on the fine liner side it's much smaller. And because I mainly got this pen for the use of the brush nib, I've just marked some ideas I can base the brush nib on. So for flexibility, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 because it really smoothly transitions between thick and thin lines. And for control, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because if you're not used to using brush pens, then this will seem like a bit of a shock. I wasn't very used to it when I first tried it, especially when you're trying to create thin lines. My overall opinion is, I think I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. So my main overall opinion of the Tombow dual brush pen, I mean it's really good, especially if you want thick downstrokes and you want to be able to transition between really thin and really thick lines. I also think it's perfect for bullet journaling. I mean, it doesn't bleed through the paper at all, as you can see. And yeah, I think it's really good if you're a beginner and you need something that's going to allow you a lot of flexibility and allow you to practice how to control a brush pen. And as you can see, I've given it a little 4 out of 5 rating. And yeah, I hope this video helped you if you were considering buying this pen. Then yeah, I totally recommend it, especially if you're a beginner.